Arya versus the Forces of Evil. Chapter 1. One rainy day, a girl named Arya woke up on the wet, soggy grass. She was about 20 years old and just moved out of her parents' house. As she looked around, she noticed that her brown hair, that went down to her elbows, was getting soaked. Before she got up, a guy named Marco, who was 21, saw her and said, "What are you doing in the grass? It's soaking wet." Arya noticed him and said that she laid down when it was sunny. "And what is that you're wearing?" Marco asked. Arya was wearing a black crop top and ripped jeans, which wasn't the style back in the 1500s, but she liked her own kind of clothes and didn't care what others thought. "Okay, do you want to go home?" asked Marco. "I don't live anywhere. I just moved out of my parents' house," Arya explained. Marco sighed as he tucked at his red hoodie and moved his now soaking brown hair. "Well, I can help you find a place when it stops raining if you want," he said. "Yeah, sure, thanks," replied Arya. Marco said that Arya could stay at his house until she found a place, and she gladly accepted. When Arya and Marco got to Marco's house, a black-haired woman excitedly rushed up to Marco and Arya with her also black-haired boyfriend trailing behind. The boy was wearing a black hoodie and had smooth, dark hair and black eyes. He was very strong, and unlike most attractive, strong men, really nice. Marco looked at the man and said, "Hey, brother, it's been a long time since I seen you. What have you been up to?" "Heh, did you finally get a girlfriend?" said the man, who had a very fine and mature voice. "No, she moved out of her parents' house and is staying with me until she gets a house," explained Marco. "Hey, I'm Aaron, what's your name?" the man says as he turns to Arya. "Oh, I'm Arya," Arya said. "Cool, I'm Aphmau," said the girl, who had a strap to keep a sword on her back. Unlike the boys, who both had ripped black jeans, she had brown pants and black boots, which looked like Arya's brown boots. Aphmau had a cute voice and was very perky. Her teal shirt looked unique in the dark, stormy sky. "Well, we are already soaking wet and we should be going inside now. It was good seeing you," said Marco. "See you next time, guys," said Aphmau. "Yeah, maybe we can hang out sometime," Aaron said. Chapter 2. 1 year later, Arya was walking around Phoenix Drop when she saw Aaron fighting off Zane. He was covered in purple cuts, and the look on his face said that he knew that he was going to die. Aphmau and Marco heard an explosion, and they came rushing over, and they both said, "What happened here?" Arya looked at them silently with a very sad and sympathetic look on her face and pointed at Aaron's sword and bandana, which were in a pit of rocks and fire. When they realized what happened, they broke down crying. Arya had tears pour down her face. As if Aaron's death wasn't enough, another serious problem was waiting to be revealed. A few days after Aphmau found out she was Lady Irene, Arya went to the Nether to gather resources. Unaware that Shad the Destroyer was banished to the Nether, she stumbled upon the Nether fortress and went inside to explore. Arya was walking around the castle, and right when she was about to leave, she saw something terrible. Aaron was a descendant of Shad, so Shad had a body again. Aaron's body. As Arya turned to run through the labyrinth back to the portal, Shad said very coldly, "Hello, Arya. I've been waiting for you." Arya turned and ran for dear life, and luckily made it back to the portal in time. She jumped through the portal so fast that when she landed, she fell flat on her stomach. Marco was still by the portal. He saw Arya's pale face and asked if she was okay, and she blurted out, "I just saw your brother. He wants me to die," without any explanation whatsoever. So Marco shouted, "What?" After a bit of stuttering, she managed to say that Shad took Aaron's body and that he acted like he'd depised her. Marco hugged her and said that as long as they stay nowhere near the Nether or the portal, they would be fine. Arya went to her new house, which she found a few days ago, and fell asleep in her bed. Chapter 3. 3. When Arya woke, she wasn't in her house. She wasn't in her bed. And after she looked out the glass-glass window, she realized that she wasn't even in her dimension. And when she finally figured out what happened, Shad was right outside the door. Arya was filled with fear and rage, so she shouted at the top of her lungs, "Why did you kidnap me?" "Why do you think?" asked Shad in a calm voice. "I don't know," said Arya, who now had tears trickling down her cheeks. "You're so weak," he said as he pushed her onto the bed. I'm not weak. Say it again and I'll fight you with my sword, which is right here," Arya threatened as she looked for her handbag and her sword. "Both of them are in my room, so don't even try," Shad gritted as he walked away. Oh, and one more thing. Shad slashes her side with his red sword. As she screamed, part of her shirt ripped. Shad left as Arya cried in both pain and sadness. A few hours later in the overworld, Marco noticed that Arya was nowhere to be found. He told Aphmau, and she said, "Maybe she's on the docks." "I checked. What about the watchtowers?" "Checked." "Her house?" "I checked everywhere." Marco and Aphmau looked at each other in worriedness. Aphmau was worried because she didn't know where Arya was. Marco was worried because he did. He assumed that she was probably at Shad's, and that he jinxed it when he said they'll be fine. Aphmau saw that Marco knew something, so when she asked, Marco said, "Aaron kidnapped her," without any explanation whatsoever. And Aphmau shouted, "What? How can a dead person kidnap someone?" And when Marco said to Aphmau what Arya said to him, "Well, are you just going to stand here? Go get her," said Aphmau. "Why don't you come? It's more romantic that way." "Wait? What?" "I know about the crush, Marco." Marco's face turned beet red and he tugged on his brown bangs. "Well, I should go. If I don't make it back out, tell Mom that I loved her," he replied. "I will," said Aphmau. Marco went bravely through the portal, and when he made it through the labyrinth to the castle, he found where the dungeon was. There was a path right above it, so he snuck through the castle to get to the path above Arya's cell. He mined one block with his pickaxe and told Arya to jump. At that moment, Shad was coming to check on her and to make sure she didn't escape. So when Shad realized she was gone, Marco and Arya were 1/4 of the way to the door, but Arya triped and scraped her knee, which took off about 5 seconds of their running time. Arya and Marco barely made it to the entrance in time. Because of the scraped knee, Arya ran a little slower than Marco. When Marco was at the portal, Arya was running up the stairs. After she reached the top, she felt someone grab her arm. Chapter 4. She quickly turned around, and it was as bad as she thought it was. Shad had caught up to her and would not let go of her arm. Arya looked at him with absolute fear, and Shad grinned. He pulled her down the stairs, and Arya screamed right before Marco went through the portal, and when Marco turned around, Shad said in the most demanding voice, "Come down here, or this will be the last time you see her alive!" Marco went downstairs and fought Shad with his karate moves, but it was no use. When Shad and Arya were on an edge of the labyrinth that just went to lava, Shad asked, "Any last words?" And Marco walked to Arya and kissed her, and he said, "I love you. I never had the guts to tell you, but I love you." Before Arya could even respond, Shad threw her to the side and pushed Marco into the lava instead. Arya got on her knees, put her head down, and cried for an hour. When she got up, Shad got a potion from her handbag. "Remember that you wanted to heal Rennie? Too bad. I'm drinking her potion," Shad shouted. Arya wanted to heal her friend named Rainey, but she brought 2 potions, and one of them was to turn Shad back into Aaron. After Shad drank one of the potions, Arya checked her handbag that he brought down from upstairs. When Arya realized that the potion he drank was the one to turn him into Aaron, she just started laughing. "You nitwit! You drank the potion to make you Aaron!" she exclaimed. 10 seconds later, instead of an angry Shad, a shocked Aaron stood in his place. "What happened?" Aaron asked. I got you back. That's what happened, said Arya. When Arya and Aaron made it through the portal, Aphmau saw Aaron and looked at him in shock. When they were kissing, Arya was starting to walk away, but then something knocked her unconscious. Chapter 5. When Arya came to, she was near a cliff, and Marco was helping her up. But when Arya realized that Marco was Shad, she almost died inside. She was heartbroken. You! Arya shouted. Hi, it's me, Marco, Shad said in Marco's teenage-like voice. Stop it! You aren't fooling anybody, Arya cried out. Look at it this way. I'm going to make you suffer, so just embrace it. Just take it in, Shad said calmly. I hate you. I despise you, Arya shouted. But why do you hate me? Oh, so you don't know what you did to me? Shad asked. I saw you. I escaped from you. I'm talking to you. What did I do? You still don't know what really happened? Shad asked. No, Arya said. All of your memories that happened before the rainy grass were fake? Shad explained. How do you know about the rainy grass? I obtained all of Marco's memories when I took his body. That makes sense. You don't know what you did to me, huh? No. Here, Shad said, as he throws her to the ground with his powers. Arya was again unconscious. Her mind was trying to hold all of her real memories. And it did. Chapter 6. A long time ago, an evil queen named Queen Marana was in rulership. As a child, Marana was separated from the rest of society by her parents, who said that she was too noble to be around these lousy commoners. Her parents homeschooled her until high school, where they said she could go to the supernatural high school, because you see, Marana was a goddess with infinite power, although at the time she was unable to control her powers. At the high school, she was walking past all the classes: Ultima class for Ultimas, Vampire Studies for Vampires, Fairy Schooling for Fairs, and the class that just opened up, the Supreme Power class for the Demons and Deities. Marana walked into the Supreme Power class, where she saw her sister Irene and her friends Enki, Edmund, Brad, and Menfia. At the other side of the classroom there sat Shad, who had rather starstruck eyes glaring in the direction of Marana. She took the desk next to Shad, her future husband. Now let's fast forward about 2,000 years. Shad kisses Marana for the first time, and about 1,000 years later, he asked her to be his girlfriend. She happily accepted, and because of their power, they ruled the world together. Their feelings for each other could not be stopped by anything, and they always put each other first. The real reasons why Marana was so evil were the fact that her parents kept her separated for so long, and that she learned a few things from her lover, Shad. It was an evil romance, but the ending was all but happy. In 10,000 years, Shad proposed to Marana, and she gladly accepted. Shad never felt so happy in his life, and the happiness lasted until their wedding day. Irene made a quick decision to knock out Marana for 2,000 years with a spell that would change Marana to be the exact opposite of who she was, and that nothing could break the spell, like the new Marana was as pure as the old Marana. Irene quickly chosen a name for Marana, Arya Ria Queenson. She loved the name, for an aria is a melody. Irene changed her sister forever, and Shad was far from happy when Irene ran up to him and said that she took away the only happiness in his life. So Shad said that he forgave her, but then used a brainwashing spell to make her do to herself the same as she did to Marana, knock her out with a spell. Chapter 7. Aaron and Aphmau find Arya unconscious with Shad by her side, looking at her and grinning. What did you do? Aaron shouted. She's getting her old memories back, Shad said as he looked up. Marco? Aaron surprisingly asked. Old memories? Asked Aphmau. Then Arya woke up. She saw Shad, Aphmau, and Aaron all together, and before she started crying, she said, Do you know the tyrant story? That's me. I'm her. And then she ran off, crying as she went. Shad looked at Aphmau and Aphmau and Aaron looked at Shad, who started laughing mercilessly. "She is weak. She can't even handle the truth," Shad shouted with happiness in his eyes. You're so mean. Why do you hate her?" Aphmau exclaimed. "Because she broke me." Arya was sitting on the edge of another cliff. She was in shock from the memories she got. "I can't believe that I'm Queen Mirana," she thought. She thought that because of that, she didn't deserve happiness. Shad was whispering thoughts into her ear. They were bad thoughts. Arya didn't know that it was Shad whispering the thoughts. When Aphmau and Aaron came to try to find out what happened, Shad already had left. Arya looked at them and they saw the tears that poured down her face. "Are you okay?" Aphmau asked. "I just need some time alone," Arya replied. Yet Arya said that like time alone was not the only thing that she needed. When Arya got home, she looked in her handbag and saw that only half of the potion that turned Shad back to Aaron was drunk. Arya realized that meant that the other half can be used to turn Shad back into Marco. The next day, Arya was walking through Phoenix Drop. She was looking around and saw everyone happy. Arya walked to Aphmau and Aaron's house and knocked on their door. But Aphmau and Aaron weren't the ones who answered. When the door opened, Dante was on the other side. "Dante, what are you doing at Aphmau's and Aaron's?" Arya asked. "This isn't their house," Dante replied. "Oh, sorry for disturbing you," Arya said. Kawaii-chan heard Arya and ran over. "Kawaii-chan would love to have Arya-sama over," said Kawaii-chan. "Well, sure," said Dante. "Kawaii-chan is inviting Aphmau, Senpai and Aaron Senpai over for brunch. Arya-sama should stay over if she wants to talk to them," said Kawaii-chan. "I guess I could stay over for a bit," Arya said. "Yay! Does Arya-sama mind helping Kawaii-chan prepare brunch?" Kawaii-chan asked. "Sure, I'll help," Arya replied. After Aaron and Aphmau arrived, Arya spoke about the matter she wanted to discuss, the potion. "We found a way to get Marco back," said Aaron. "So did I," said Arya. "Does it require anybody dying except for Shad?" asked Aphmau. "No," Arya replied. "Then it's better than our plan," Aaron said. "What was your plan?" asked Arya. "That I die so you have Marco," said Aaron. "That's a terrible plan. I found that I have half the potion left so I can use that on Shad," said Arya. "That's a better plan, but how are you going to get him to drink it?" Aphmau said. Why don't you say that the potion will kill me?" said Aaron. "Because that sounds incredibly suspicious," Arya replied. "Shad was the one who said that my death would equal your Marco," Aaron replied. "Why would you trust him?" "But yeah, good plan," Arya said. After dinner, Arya asked for Aaron and Aphmau to meet up with her at the Nether portal. They accepted. "If I'm not back in 10 minutes, try and find me. 10 minutes here is an hour in the Nether, so yeah," Arya said. "Okay, please be careful," Aphmau said. "Yeah," said Aaron. "I know that Marco wouldn't want you to get hurt." So then Arya left. Arya went to the Nether to get Marco back. When she met up with Shad, she said, "You win. I made a potion that will kill Aaron. Just please, bring Marco back and stop torturing me, please. I can't take it anymore." "Fine, I'll drink the potion," said Shad. He actually drank the potion, and then he said, "Ha ha ha ha! I will never bring Marco back, you dumb girl. Why would you ever think that I would agree, you idiot? Now all the Lycans are dead and you will stay here with me. Forever." "I know that, which is why this potion is the same potion used to bring Aaron back. You just got outsmarted," said Arya. Then instead of Shad, there was Marco, who immediately kissed Arya. Arya said that she had thought things over and that she loved him too. Arya and Marco went to the overworld, and Arya explained the tyrant thing on the way. Aaron, Aphmau, and Marco all promised never to tell anyone about her being the tyrant. There are only 2 things to be said now. The first thing is that Aphmau and Aaron got married, and Marco and Arya also eventually got married. But the second thing is that Shad regained his relic and disguised himself as a man named Sharon, who moved in next door to Arya and Marco. And Shad's old feelings for Arya returned, and he could no longer hurt her. But a new evil genius was waiting to be revealed, whose main target was Aaron and Aphmau. But he would to go through Arya and Marco first.